have very specific ratios to each other. And they would use a combination of sound and movement. And then the last would be, they would use very specific symbols. So this is the first part of becoming able to handle grids that way. And there's a part of you that knows how to do this, because there's a part of you, quite a few parts of you, that are back in the other rounds where they know how to do this. So if you realize that, you can simply put the thought out to whoever I am in those time frames, help me here. How does this one sound? Here's the words. What is it supposed to sound like? If you work with this, you'll get the specifics that you need. Now what they're going to do right now, and I could tell, when we went for the break, I started to get really hot on my tailbone, and the whole right side of my head went numb. So that means, okay, incoming frequency, they're up to something. They were going to transmit frequency, just like kind of blanket frequency into the room. You will leave here with the tribal shield activated. It will be up to you to keep it activated. Now it can be activated by transmission of very specific interdimensional frequencies. That's what they're doing right now. And when I say they, I'm referring to the founders. They're the ones that are doing it from Density 5. It's like I've allowed them to use my vehicle to ground it and to put it out in the room. If anybody doesn't want that, simply put that intention out, and it will be blocked from entering your field because nobody's going to impose it on you. But there will be, I'm being told here live, that you'll get the transmissions and the shield will activate, the tribal shield will activate. It'll be about a day and a half. By the time you forget that happened, there's going to be something interesting. They won't tell me what. It's not going to be bad, but it's going to be something interesting. And they're not they're baiting us all here. Me too. Because mine's not activated yet either. They didn't activate my tribal shield yet. There's going to be something about a day and a half after this process that's going to be an energy shift of some sort. That if you hear that, you should be able to catch it. But if you look for it, like, okay, what is it? Is it here yet? Is it here yet? You'll miss it. So it's like just ignore it, and then something will catch it. Like, oh, that might have been it. It's something, and they're not telling me, but sometimes they're like this. This is their way of being playful. Yeah, make you wonder until you figure it out. But anyway, this you will have the copies of these, whether or not you buy the chart pack. We'll have them for you for tomorrow. Is there anybody that's not coming tomorrow? Okay, you're not going to be here tomorrow. Is there? Okay, and you're not. Do you want to leave an address so we'll send them to you? Because I want to make sure you get them. Okay? Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, no problem. Okay? Because this is the key. The chart packs are very useful if you want to think, what was all that? Because there's a lot of detail. And the things that I showed you up here, they're only the big set pages. There's a bunch of, I think there's about 20 pages worth of excerpts from the new book that's not out yet. It's going to be probably at least a month before it's on the shelves. I've pulled excerpts out of that, but they pertain to some of this stuff that we're talking about, so they're going to be in it too. So it'll be the first, like the first, at least you have it, it's something new. So, but you don't have to. I'm not going to say you have to buy the chart pack to get this. I'm not like that. This is something that you can play with it, you can use it, and you can begin to, once that tribal shield is triggered with the frequencies that are going to be running through here tonight, it'll be a lot easier for the sound tones to take, even if you're, kind of fudging and tripping over it for a while, as we all will do. They know I'm going to too, because I have to fight with these things. It took me a while to get the Uria Cum Nare when we were doing that. So I don't know if everybody's heard that, but the Omeda song, that was real fun trying to get that down with the right rhythms and the right everything. So I know that it's going to take you a little while to get comfortable with these. But there'll come a time when you'll even start to feel comfortable enough to play with frequency combining. You'll get an urge, okay, I'm on 1. Ooh, I want to do 5. Follow that, okay? That's saying for that particular time, these are the frequencies you need right now, all right? All of the ones, if you use them, if you use 1 and 12, you will activate the shield. But if you get the urge to start combining them and moving them around and making your own personal mantra out of them, as long as you keep them whole, like you can take this one and put it next to this one, but don't take this half of this one and put it, half of that one. Don't break them down because they're a frequency pattern as it is. Grow with it. We'll be getting more on this. There's going to be symbols that go with these, and there's going to be much more specific stuff, but start here. This is enough to get the tribal shield activated and enough to start playing with it, where you can start to, I can activate my tribal shield now, which means I can modulate how much of my Antakarana current is going to move through me. Because this is what it gives you the power to do. It's like having a faucet that your hand is on now. Before you're like, feeling around how do you turn the water on. Now, you know where the faucet is. And it happens to be sound tones. Okay? So you can use this. Yeah. I will. Okay. Let me try the 12th one again. Okay, the 12th one is Araya Zortara. Now, 11. Zephardun Atur Da. Zephardun Atur Da. That's it. Zephardun Atur Da. Zephardun Atur Za. Da. Okay. Zephardun Atur Da. Okay. This one, the 10 is pretty easy. That's Ma'a Huta. Hu. It's a hu sound. Kind of like, it's almost a hu sound, but it has a h on it. It's almost like a q sound, but not quite. So it's a Ma'a Huta Hu. Ma'a Huta Hu. And number 9. I'm glad they gave me the phonetics on that because I never would have got the X. You see the spelling compared to the phonetics on it. It's actually Yu'un Zuzen Hi. Yu'un Zuzen Hi. Yu'un Zuzen Hi. And I know these two have to do with the Oriental races. I know that they're, like, Tibetan is in there someplace. I could feel it in the vibe. And they go back to the Yu races, the Yu Empire races of the Palladorias. Okay, this is a fun one. Chi, Azun, Yan, Le, oh boy. Okay, we have Chi, Azun, Yan, Leyong, Om. Wow. You say that fast, okay? It's like Peter Piper. Say it fast and you have no idea what you just said. Chi, Azun, Yan Le Yong Chi Azun Yan Le Yeah, it has like do 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 do. It's kind of like a pattern like that to it. Chi Azun Yan Le Yong Chi Azun Yan Le Yong Oh boy. You know what might be a good idea? Play with them for a while. When you think you got one right, tape it. Right? So you remember when you knew it was right, because then, 6 weeks later you go back to, what was that? I have that. So just a suggestion. Yes? Some of them change. If you'll notice up here, it's going into the X, but it's a Z sound. Down here, these are the phonetics that go with them. Sometimes the spellings, which are actually the visual symbol translations of them, are a little bit different than what we would pronounce the phonetics. That's why they gave me the phonetics. I said, they each little piece, they'd do it out, but then they'd say it fast, and I kind of go, what? But they said that they are correct, the phonetics are correct on them the way they are. Okay, we can do that one more time. Chi, Azun, Yan, Le, Yong, Okay. And this one is Mi, Mihata Agra Oi. That's actually Oi. It's like it looks Oi, Oi, like that Oi. That's Mihata Agra. I like that word. That is a agra. There's a like r to it, like a little purr in between the A and the G. Mihata Agra Oi. It's probably not quite like that. It's probably oi, 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 rather than oi. That would be O-U-I, I think. Okay, this isn't too bad. This is Ramayana Shridvida. Ramayana Shridvida. Ramayana Shridvida. That's pretty easy. That's close. Like, it's not too bad if you take it slow. and then on the end, yes. Ramayana Shridvida Actually, wait a minute. They're saying, say that one, yum. Yeah, as if you had the yum. Okay. Okay. This one, 5, is Iona tu et illa. Et illa. Ew. It's like, ew, you know. Iona tu et illa. Ew. And the more you say them, you'll find the balance. As far as, you know how you kind of struggle with it, you know that it must sound, it's a little different. But that's not too bad. Iona tu atila you. This one's easy. Nuagu hali ka. Nuagu hali ka. This one, I know there's some secrets about. Because some of the stuff that we're going to talk about tomorrow is the beginning of unraveling something called the Atlantian conspiracy that had to do with a quest for the North Country, because it was known back then. This has something to do with certain, I'm not going to name names of contemporary occult sciences that follow certain doctrines, but the Amika-san Itur. This has to do with the quest for America. Amika, this is where America came from. It was from the Atlantean period. Yeah. And when they gave that to me, I said, ooh. So it wasn't Vespucci or whoever it was that named America after America's Vespucci. I don't think so. You know. But anyway, this one is Amika-san Itur do. Amika-san Itur do. Amika-san Itur do. Ma'ahali Brua. Okay. Ma'ahali Brua. Now, interesting, with this, spelled different, but the Brua is also the name of what was southwestern Atlantis. Brua is what it was called, but it was spelled different. So I have a feeling these guys have to do with the tribes that had you know, like we're getting progressively more on that. But I'm looking at these and I'm thinking, I have an idea of where these fit, you know, with the people. We will have that probably by the time the book is out, those correlations. Okay, so that's Ma'ahali Brua. E-L. Actually, it's E-L. E-L. Yeah. Yeah, when I show them big, it's that I have to remind myself that it's supposed to be like the E sound, like the E-L. If it was L, it'd be a little E. You know, so that's how we kind of use the spellings. And then this one again, let's see if we remember that one. Isutu ishu ur. Isutu ishu ur. It might be interesting to have a dialogue with yourself. Pretend you're talking to yourself and just run through them and sound convincing, you know, like you're saying something. Sometimes you get into a natural language pattern that way, where you'll just pick up like a natural rhythm for yourself. I get a feeling that could work. Just have some fun talking to the mirror and you know? And you'll start to get your natural intonations on the sounds, just as if you were carrying on a conversation in your own language. That might help it, you know, move a little better for you. Okay. Now, all right. Is everybody here interested in the Emerald Awakening? Okay. Okay. Now, if anybody here has had it, it doesn't hurt to have it twice. Okay. Now, this is something that we're not going to go and zap you. We're holding a frequency field in the room that allows the things like your own Maharic seal, for instance. You don't normally, before we do an activation, we'd run you through the Maharic seal again, but you're already taken through that, I was told this morning. That's right. You did the Maharic seal this morning, right, with Marianne? Okay. So that means you had it in your fields. They're pumping right now, frequency through. I can feel it coming through beneath my feet, just enough to sustain yours. So your Maharic seals are up, so you're okay. So you don't have to worry about going through all those steps again to get there. Now, with the Emerald Awakening, Michael is going to read this for us. If I can find him. Where did he go? He went that way. Wonderful. Because he helps me out too, because it helps my voice to last a little bit longer. I almost was wondering if I was going to talk to you at all today or use sign language, because about by 4 o'clock in the morning my voice was shot. But all right, this is something that we do have in writing, and whenever I have stuff in writing, I let other people help, because it's supposed to be a community effort and a joint effort. I'm not the guru here, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be that way. Now, what's going to happen with the Emerald Awakening is you're going to be guided to move certain things, to move certain energy in certain ways through your body. Okay, is it better if they stand for that? We have them on the beach standing, Michael. Yeah, I think so too. So we'd ask you to stand for this one, because you need really the main vertical current running pretty straight, like right down through the feet and up through the head. Okay, Michael will take you through the steps of this, but you'll run them. Meanwhile, we'll hold frequency. I'm also being asked here to just put this out. If anybody feels that they need a little bit of help with the frequency or anything like that, just a little bit of guidance with it, that they'll not with me, but they'll tune in and help you out. And you might even be able to feel them, they said. So, and the them I'm talking about are the Brenau on Density 5. They're the ones that are running the show at this point, the founders. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to hand the microphone over to you, my beloved. Thank you.
Thank you, darling.
How are you?
Huh?
We didn't
It's going to talk. Right, we're starting shield up, right?
Shields up. They're all right.
Okay, just begin by breathing slowly. And I want you to become conscious of allowing your breathing rate to slow. Just take your time. Begin visualizing, or if you can't visualize, just imagine a 4-inch round violet dot at the center of your forehead, or you call the place of your third eye. Make the color of the image as strong as you're able to. If you can't see the color, just imagine that it's there, and intend that it'll be a strong presence of violet. Now move this violet dot to the center of your brain, the very center part of your skull, which is where you keep your pineal gland. And then move it immediately upwards from that central position into your crown chakra. Keep moving the violet dot until you sense or feel it sitting, resting on the top of your head. Now call to mind the Hierophant symbol. That's the pale silver Merkaba star, rather like the Star of David. Visualize the Hierophant spinning 12 inches below your feet, within your Maharic shield. And as you do this, slowly inhale, drawing the Hierophant up through the central vertical current, all the way up to meet the violet dot on the surface of your skull in the position of the crown chakra. When the Hierophant connects with the violet dot, visualize the violet dot bursting into a 4-inch round vertical pillar of violet silver light. And imagine the violet silver pillar running down through the body all the way into the earth's core, as well as upward to the 14th chakra, 36 inches above your head. You have now activated the violet ray of transmutation. Now move your attention to your heart chakra, and there imagine a small green spherical crystal, the green star, stationed at the core of your heart chakra. This is the green star crystal seal that controls the release of fourth dimensional frequency, phase 1 doradic current, into your body. Now with your attention on the green crystal, inhale, drawing violet silver energy from the violet silver pillar into the green star at your heart center. Exhale, expanding the violet silver energy into the green star sphere. And repeat this twice more. Inhale, drawing violet silver energy from the violet silver pillar into the green star at the heart center. And exhale, expanding the violet silver energy into the green star sphere at the heart center. Now at the end of the last exhale, imagine the green star popping, turning into a spinning green and violet starburst of light as the violet silver pillar disappears. Spin the green violet starburst faster and faster until it becomes a ball of green violet light about the size of a grapefruit, spinning in the center of your heart center. This green violet ball is your storehouse of phase 1 doradic current, and this is referred to as the doradic sphere. Now on the next inhale, draw pale silver energy from your Maharic shield up through the central vertical current and into the center of the doradic sphere at your heart chakra, encasing the sphere in translucent pale silver light. Keep your attention on the doradic sphere at the heart center as we move now into awakening the car. Inhale pale silver energy up from the earth core to fill and expand the doradic sphere. Breathe slowly and deeply 2 to 3 times whilst you do this. Slowly and gently, lift your hands in front of you, bringing your fingertips together. And without exactly touching, just feel the fuzziness of the energy flow. Just move them to any position in which you can feel the fuzziness. It doesn't matter whether it's a half an inch or an inch. Now slowly and gracefully, move your fingertips to the tailbone. Just touch your tailbone very gently. Just bring your arms around. And once you've made contact, inhale energy from the Maharic shield up into the doradic sphere. Draw deeply up. And exhale deeply, pushing pale silver energy down to your fingertips and into the tailbone. Inhale Maharic energy from the Maharic shield once more. Bring it up into the doradic sphere. And exhale, pushing pale silver energy down to the fingertips and into the tailbone. Just repeat this one more time. Now move your attention to the second chakra, the sacral. Feel or visualize or just know that there is a double terminated quartz crystal, a crystal with a point at both ends. And this crystal is beginning to push out of your sacral chakra. Focus your attention on it for a moment and try to feel the crystal pushing out of this chakra center. If you feel comfortable, bring your hands into the area and use your hands to help ease the crystal forward and out. Now there is a smaller double terminated crystal in the solar plexus chakra. This will release on its own now because the currents have been activated to do this. But if you feel like it, help it out with your fingers. Just imagine drawing this double pointed quartz crystal from your solar plexus area. Just gently and reverently. Now bring your attention to your heart chakra. Imagine a little sphere of energy there, colored green. Bring this little green sphere more fully into focus. Look at it intently and carefully. And as you do, you will notice a little black cube of energy just inside it. Continue to increase your focus. And as your focus or your intention to see develops, you will notice inside of the black cube a little white cube. Continue to watch the cubes. And as you do, you will notice or feel that they're merging. And as they do this, you may feel a ripple of vibration. And notice, if you can, a little puff of smoke as they both suddenly disappear. At this point, your body has been activated to open the fourth and first crystal seals, and you are ready for the Emerald Awakening proper. When we work with this together, we open the green star crystal seal. So keeping your awareness on the doradic sphere, the green, violet, silver ball at the heart center, breathe in deeply. And as you exhale, visualize or imagine pushing a cord of green, violet, silver, doradic current down into the tailbone, down into the first cell, all the way down to the very tip of your tailbone. Now just for a moment or two, relax. You're going to breathe easy for a little while. Now I want you to take your focus down to the first cell at the tip of your tailbone. I want you to find there, or imagine with strong intention, that there is a white silver sphere at the very tip of your tailbone. Now within the white silver sphere, visualize a green sphere. And when you feel comfortable visualizing the green sphere inside of the white silver sphere, I want you to notice or imagine that inside of the green one there is a red sphere. Just breathe easy. Now move your attention back up to the sphere of green, violet, silver energy in your heart center. And on the next out-breath, visualize or imagine sending a cord of green, violet, silver energy all the way down your central vertical current and into the green sphere in the first cell at the tip of the tailbone. So exhale. Send a cord of green, violet, silver energy all the way down into the green sphere at the tip of the tailbone. On the next inhale, pull pale silver light from your personal Maharic shield. That's the platform disc approximately 12 inches below your feet. Pull pale silver light up into the tailbone and into the green sphere. As you do this, visualize the green sphere pop into a starburst of pale green silver light. Now, this element has opened the Kundalini seal. Your white, silver and red spheres remain as you left them earlier. And now we will work to open the red star crystal seal. So return your awareness to the Doradic sphere at the heart center. Inhale deeply. And on the exhale, push a cord of green, violet, silver Doradic current down to the first cell at the tip of the tailbone. Inhale and draw pale silver energy up from the personal Maharic shield, just 12 inches below your feet. Draw the pale silver energy up into the tailbone and into the red sphere, inside the white silver sphere. As you draw the pale silver energy into the red sphere, visualize the red sphere pop into a starburst of pale pink silver light. And for the next few breaths, on the out breath, breathe pale pink silver light into the 12th chakra, just 6 inches below your feet. Okay, you have now opened the Kirashe seal, so that the sacred flames of the Kirashe can be activated, and that's what we'll do now. The Kirashe appears as 3 little flames which exist in the 12th chakra, 6 inches below your feet. The 3 flames are pale blue, pale yellow, and pale violet. So we begin this element by focusing deeply on the 12th chakra, 6 inches below your feet, and the 3 little flames held there. Visualize them or imagine that they're there. 1 pale blue, 1 pale yellow, and the 3rd is pale violet. On the next in-breath, draw the pale violet flame up from the 12th chakra into the central column and all the way up and out through the top of your head to the 10th chakra, 6 inches above your crown. Breathe easy and return your attention to the 12th chakra, 6 inches below your feet. Allow yourself a little time to connect with the pale yellow gold flame there. And on the next inhale, draw the pale yellow gold flame all the way up from the 12th chakra and out to the top of your head at the 10th chakra, 6 inches above your crown. Again, return your attention to the 12th chakra, 6 inches below your feet, and connect with the pale blue flame. Take your time, breathe easy. This is the flame of the inner arc of the covenant. On the next in-breath, draw this inner arc of the covenant, the pale blue flame, all the way out from the 12th chakra, out the top of the head at the 10th chakra, 6 inches above your crown. Now in your mind's eye, try to see these three little flames together inside of the 10th chakra, just 6 inches above your head. In a moment we'll create the Kirashi sphere. So just breathe easily. Okay, so we focus on the three little flames. On the next inhale, draw pale silver energy from your personal Maharic shield 12 inches below your feet, all the way up your central vertical column, up into the 10th chakra. Exhale this time gently, and inhale once more immediately, drawing more pale silver energy up into the 10th chakra. And on this breath, visualize or imagine the three little flames now enclosed within a sphere of pale silver light. Breathe easy for a moment. On the next exhale, we're going to move the Kirashi sphere all the way down through the central vertical current, out through the 12th chakra 6 inches below your feet, and all the way down to the 13th chakra at Earth's core. So on the next exhale, move your Kirashi sphere all the way down to the Earth's core. As the Kirashi enters Earth's core, listen for sound tones with your inner ear. These tones represent the Amentipas key, which opens your personal Grual point, the first cell in the tailbone, releasing the Kirashi flames into your auric field. Breathe easily as you watch for the Kirashi flames rising up your Maharic pillar, emerging through your first cell at the tailbone, passing like radiating waves of pale blue, pale yellow, and pale violet. In your mind's eye, welcome and encourage these waves. Encourage them to move through you. And as you do, bring your attention to your first 4 chakras in the column: the base, the sacral, the solar plexus, and the heart. And visualize or imagine each chakra emanates a silver Maharic sheath or an oval pod, completely surrounding each one. This completes the Emerald Awakening, the natural process by which we use unified field physics to trigger our Christed selves. But before we finish, we must first establish the link to the Amethyst Awakening, the process of activation and sheathing of the higher chakras, which we will complete tomorrow. So to complete the session, we will now work with the 8th and 11th dimensional energies to open Doradic phase 2 and 3 current and activate the Tueric phase 2 current. This is called activating the Ra center in the thyroid and anchoring the rainbow bridge. We begin this final stage by bringing our attention to our third eye. And I want you to focus just inside your forehead, a little above and behind your eyebrows. Just maintain steady, relaxed breathing. Now in this position, just behind and above your eyebrows, I want you to visualize or imagine a dark silver dot in the position you're focused on. Now on the next inhale, I want you to move the dark silver dot into the pineal gland in the center of your head, and then straight up through the crown chakra until the dark silver dot sits just on the top of your skull in the position of the crown chakra. Breathe out easily when you're ready. Now on the next in-breath, pull pale silver energy up from your personal Maharic shield, 12 inches below your feet, all the way up the central vertical current and into the dark silver dot on the top of your head. As the pale silver energy reaches the dark silver dot, the silver dot pops into a silver starburst. Pull pale silver energy up to meet the dark silver dot, and watch for the dot popping into a starburst. Now on the next out breath, push the silver starburst down the central vertical current all the way into the tip of the tailbone, with the intention of expanding the silver starburst fully into and throughout the first cell. And once you've done this, just breathe easily and watch as gold silver current emerges from the tailbone and begins to flow upwards through each chakra, all the way from the first chakra at the base, up through the sacral, the solar plexus, all the way up to the crown chakra. Allow yourself a little time. As the gold-silver current approaches your crown chakra, allow it to continue to move upwards. Out the top of your head, up through the 10th chakra, 6 inches above your head. It continues to flow easily up to the 11th chakra, 18 inches above your head, and continues to flow freely and easily until finally it nestles in the 14th chakra, 36 inches above your head. Allow it to pool momentarily there. In its aliveness part of it begins its downward return immediately though. And watch as it flows with grace and ease all the way down your central vertical current, returning to the first chakra. As this flow of gold-silver energy develops, it creates a gold-silver sheath throughout your central vertical current. Now, as this process is completing, bring your attention to the second chakra, and here we're going to create a gold-silver ball in the seed seal at the center of this chakra. Now just imagine the sacral, the second chakra. Imagine it as if it were a bow tie shape. The seed seal is at the narrow point in the middle. The gold-silver ball we're going to create here is called the telluric sphere. So inhale now and draw gold-silver current from the gold-silver sheath in the center of the chakra. And as you exhale, use this energy to create and expand the ball to surround the bow tie shape. Now inhale and move this gold-silver ball up to the first hara center, which is just about 2 inches below the navel. This is the 9 silver star signet seal, or Tan Tien. Exhale gently, and as you do, allow the ball to expand. On the next in-breath, move the gold-silver ball up to the solar plexus, and again exhale gently. Inhale and move the gold-silver ball up to the heart center. And again, just breathe easily. Now with the gold silver ball at the heart center, inhale, and this time exhale really vigorously, pushing cords of gold silver current down each arm and into the palms. And now, slowly and gently, bring your hands up in front of you, bring your fingertips towards each other, and feel the fuzzy buzz of the telluric phase 3 current. Because you have now activated telluric phase 3 current in your palms, and you are now able to run current from the 4th to the 8th dimensions to transmit to the thyroid gland, to activate and anchor the rainbow bridge in others. You are now ready for the amethyst awakening tomorrow. Blessings to you all.
I almost feel like I should whisper, so as not to break the calm field that was here. A little curious, did anyone feel anything while they were doing it? I ask this all the time, because some people do and some don't right away. Good, yeah. Yeah, they're very mild. They're not like the kind that gets zapped with and, you feel lousy for 3 weeks afterward. But they do progressively open more frequency in your body. If you start to, in the next 3 to 6 days, if you start to get a little bit of like heat flash things, where you just feel heat coming up, kind of like in your head, it's not painful, but you might feel like you're getting a fever, or you're wondering if you need estrogen therapy or something. It's very possible it would be from the activation. It's a very mild activation, and the response will be mild. See, if you get a forceful Kundalini activation, it actually does more harm than good, because it blows open circuits for the moment, but it overloads the system, so it shuts down harder than it was before. So it actually creates the reversed effect that you want. That's why when we do the activations, they're very slow, gentle, progressive, and they're done in sequence. There's a sequence that things are supposed to be opened in the body. And when you don't know the sequence, if you're working with someone who really doesn't understand the fire letter sequences and how they're supposed to run, they can accidentally lead you into hurting yourself, because they don't know either. The true mechanics of how the DNA template works, and how Kundalini works, and how the Merkaba works, true mechanics have not been here for a very long time, because every time they're brought here, somebody comes in, takes them, changes them to make them do something else. This is the first time since the Christ period, since between, he was born in 12 AD, BC, but didn't start translating this information until 10 AD. So the information that we're being given now is another dispensation of the same data that the man that was known as Jesus Christ was bringing through in that period of time. It's in its pure form at the moment, but I have watched in It would be horror if I didn't have enough of my incarnational memory open to remember that every time, be it in Egypt or India, wherever it was in the incarnations, every time it was brought through, give it 4 weeks on the planet and it turned into something else completely. I've watched this happen on the internet with information, like technique or something being put. This is why a lot of people say, oh, well, you're just in it for the money. You won't put your stuff out on the internet. Why? Because by the time I see it the next day, it doesn't resemble my stuff. And these kind of things, when you put technique, technique can be bent in a way that you can hurt yourself with. So this is one of the reasons that we would rather do it in workshops or do it in books where it's in solid form, that nobody's going to change it on you before you get it. So you don't have to worry about adverse effects or, getting overwhelmed with the frequency coming in with these. Yep.
If we do feel like we don't have to worry about it.
Right.
That it's overwhelmed.
Yeah. So if you feel the frequency coming in, it's getting, it's making you nervous. Yeah. Okay. It can do that a little bit. It depends on how much released. And it helps to remember one thing, that with the Kundalini activations, when you're working with the Maharata, which is the Christos ray, your D12 level of consciousness, that level of your consciousness is going to modulate it for you. If you get a few rushes of energy, or if you go through a few cycles of DNA activation where you're getting some discomfort and things, you're not going to be pushed beyond your limit. And nobody is going to push you but your own higher parts. Okay, when we do the activations, if you get to where you feel too much energy coming in, it can make you feel jumpy, kind of like agitated and that kind of thing. I've gone through periods like that because my higher parts and a few friends up there, had to put me through very rapid DNA activations to get me to the point where in the time frame that was needed that this information could be translated. Information is frequency, and the information that I translate for the books comes off the CDD plates, the Cloister Door Tour plates. And right now we're translating off plate 11 and 12. They're the ones keyed to D11 and D12. So I had to very quickly be able to run that kind of frequency. And just like with the Kundalini activation, you may get frequency coming through that you're just not quite used to, and it may make you a little jittery. But if you remember, first of all, to get rid of the fear factor, your own Christos level is there. You can call on it, first of all. Say, okay, what was that Maharic seal thing? Okay, I know you're up there somewhere, self. Christos self, help me modulate this. Help me balance this. There's another thing you can check on, that if you can, does everybody know what a Merkaba field is, or at least have heard of a Merkaba field? Okay, good. No? Okay. A Merkaba field is basically a set of counter-rotating spirals of energy, one electrical, one magnetic, that surrounds all manifest forms. There's actually dimensional Merkaba fields, small ones, that you have 3 of them in your 3-dimensional body, and then there are larger harmonic Merkaba fields that are 3-dimensional Merkaba fields that the other ones are contained within. Now, there are things you can do with the Merkaba. The Merkaba that we work with is the one that comes out around you. It's not the 3rd-dimensional one. It is one made of 3 dimensions. It's a harmonic Merkaba field. And you have the electrical coming down and spiraling clockwise around you, feeding energy into the system. And you have a magnetic one spinning counterclockwise, taking energy down into the earth. It's an energy feed system. Now, the Merkaba has an axis. If you're going to draw it, it looks like a star tetrahedron, which are, it's like 2 pyramids, inverted, one inverted, running through each other. That is a field that's surrounding the body. You can really just visualize it as spirals. You don't have to worry too much right now about the axes that go out this way. But the one axis you need to pay attention to, so you realize you have these things and they're all always there. It's like activating the Merkaba is always there. Activating it to make it move faster, so you start to get more frequency coming in. That's a different story. But when you do Kundalini activations of any kind, or even when you naturally are going through a cycle of DNA activation that your soul is motivating, it has a tendency sometimes to knock the vertical axis of the Merkaba out of whack. If you get used to just kind of closing your eyes and imagine that you're sitting inside of this star tetrahedron shape, or inside of these 2 funnel shapes, if you want to just make it simple, 2 funnel shapes, inverted, one inverted. And you're supposed to be centered evenly, and the axis is supposed to, the vertical axis is supposed to come down through your center. If you get used to that, just visualizing that that is how it should be when you're just trying to orient it, you may find that when you're feeling jittery or something, try to take a look at it, and where is it? Where's the vertical axis? You may find it's going this way. You may see it pointing out front. Wait a minute, that's supposed to be up here. You can see the shapes in your energy field. If you get used to the fact that you have something like this that you can look at, your inner vision knows where to look. You don't have to be able to see at D9 to be able to see it. You can see the vertical axis just going into a little bit of fourth dimensional frequency, which is basic psychic perception, basic inner vision. If you can't see it, that's okay. You can sense it. Okay? You can sense, if you play with the feel, and just imagine that you have a vertical this axis, a pillar running through you that comes out the top of your head. Try to feel if there's something that feels like it's going forward, or something that feels like it's pulling over this way. It may even be just a feel of a pull that doesn't feel centered. That's telling you that your Merkaba axis is out of alignment with your main vertical current, which is going to throw your energy around in ways that's going to be uncomfortable. One of the first things you can do if you get jittery or start to feel funny is to visually pretend you have your astral body here at your command, and see your ghost hand come up. Grab it wherever it is, wherever the top of the point would be, and gently pull it back up. And then see a pale silver light come down to hold it in. It kind of forms a pyramid around it where it holds it steady. Usually, if you're feeling discomfort, or if your emotional body's bouncing all over the place and you're just fatiguing and stuff, that means your Merkaba axis is out of whack. So it's one of the first things you can look for, whether you're activating Kundalini or not. But sometimes that happens with Kundalini activations. Now, with the Emerald Awakening, because that's one of the stronger, there are only two Masters ones that release, the master codes that start the whole, the whole template activating, because that would happen very easily. With those kind, what the agreement is with your own Christos self is your Christos self makes an agreement with the level of you that's in density 5, your own Rishi level of self, to send a basic frequency down that makes that pyramid to come down over the Merkaba, which gives it a splint. It gives it, it can't wobble around too much, and it holds it. And they tend to keep it there for about 2 years. So you don't have to worry too much about it, but sometimes you'll find that if you have a lot of energy built up, and it's not just the Kundalini activation. If there's other stuff that's been bugging you and it's been building up in your emotional body, and you had a lot of tension and stuff to begin with, that's when you might find it starting to go out of whack. It won't go too far because of the activation itself with the pyramid of light coming down from your own Rishi level. You can ask your Rishi at that point, can we pull it back up here a little bit, please? Okay? You can also, if you get bouncy from too much frequency, literally shake it out of the body. Physically move, let the body throw energy down, just into the earth. Get it out of the body. Because that's the problem. It's building up in the body, and the body circuitry can't process it fast enough. That's where you get agitation, and that can get scary. You can start to get heart palpitations and stuff because you get scared because you feel the energy coming. You don't know what it means. And then you start going into fear response, which makes everything. Your adrenaline flows, and you get that whole fight or flight instinct kind of thing. You don't need to go there with it, with any energy, really. Not just with activations, but you have energy moving through your body at all times. Sometimes you'll find that fear thing kick up. Did anybody ever wake up in the morning and they just had this I don't know what happened in the dream state, but it must have been awful. I feel like you just carry this thing through with you. And I know a few people have had that. I don't know how common it is, but a lot of times you're processing like part of your karmic pattern, part of the stuff you would have had to walk through. You're taking care of it in the dream state and on the astral level. You can wake up with the real fear, fight or flight type instinct sensation. If you realize that those type of things are energy, even if you're walking down the street and somebody threatens you, if you can keep a presence of mind to realize, first of all, this is just energy. Second of all, I have my Christos level of self with me. It can help me regulate this energy. You can literally get your mind out of its binding. Because when you're used to almost subconscious fear responses to energy, to things, that will amplify when you do Kundalini activations, if you let it. It doesn't have to. So this little conversation was in response to your question of, well, what if it does feel overwhelming sometimes, and even though I know I'm okay, it still does. That can happen. It's usually it doesn't happen too often, but it usually happens when somebody has been waiting to grow for a long time. And there's a lot of energy that's been waiting to go, and you release it. When you start to activate, you release energy, and it brings more of you up and in. And that can feel like waves of energy that can be overwhelming. Again, basic coping skills. For too much energy running through, simple problem. Too much energy, you got to get some of the energy out. So you can open to your 12th chakra, 6 inches below your feet. Imagine it as a disc. If your energy is feeling funny and you're feeling all blocked up and built up, you can bet that that chakra isn't about at least this big. It probably did one of these, and it probably went into contraction. So nothing's getting out, so it's building up more and more. What you need to do is just do the little, even if you're just going to do half of a Maharic seal, bring down the Hierophant symbol code, the 6-pointed Star of David in the pale silver. Bring it down and move it through with the breath, through the 12th chakra, to stimulate, open the 12th chakra. If the 12th chakra is open, the natural conduit between the planetary grids, where your 13th chakra is anchored in the Earth's core, and the 12th chakra, it will create a natural pumping effect, where it'll drain energy from the system that's building up. And it'll also feed it back in if you end up drained for other reasons. So the planet will help you and you'll help the planet. 12th chakra is a key to regulating energy in the body systems. It's a key to, if you need more energy, because you feel like you're, like say if you've been sick or something, if you're really, really drained, you feel like your life force just, fell out and you just can't find it. Open the 12th chakra, take the energy, try to take the energy, or if you don't have it, have somebody do it for you. Open the 12th chakra, and if you need energy, begin to use the breath to draw it up from the planetary shields, the pale silver, which is the D12 frequency, and see it and feel it going into every cell in your body. If you're feeling jittery and bouncy and heavy and just like weighed down, that's too much energy in. So you want to do the opposite. Open the 12th chakra, bring a little bit of the energy up from the earth as a rod to grab the other energy out. Bring it up with the breath and then feel it latching onto all the extra energy in your system and breathe it down. You may have to do it several times. You have to breathe that way for a couple of minutes, but you're using the breath and your knowledge of your energy systems to begin consciously regulating what your energy is doing. And you'll find that you get more and more control over it. Things that used to bother you, or when you used to get upset or scared or aggravated about something or angry about something, if you begin to play with these things when you're not under fire, when you're not having a problem, you'll find that it will kick in and you'll start to use that knowledge automatically. Just like you learned to use a response of, say, if too much energy is building up and you get angry and you throw something across the room, or you go into a crying jag. Crying jags are better than throwing things, but as long as, actually throwing things are okay as long as you don't hit anybody. But there are other ways to handle that same energy. If you can learn how to do this by simply, 12th chakra, just simply use the Maharata current, because that's what you're using. When you're pulling pale silver up or bringing it down, you're using the Maharata current, your inner Christos current, to help you regulate and stabilize energy. It will also help to depolarize energy. If you have issues that are taking yes on this hand, no on the other hand, there's a big conflict over ideas or beliefs or feelings, you can run the Maharata current through your body, the pale silver, from the 12th chakra, bring it up all the way up to the 14th chakra, 36 inches above the head, and feel it like a rod of pale silver light. And if you just start to feel a little better from it, expand it. If it's this big in diameter, expand it to this big. Visualize it. Try to feel it, that pillar is coming up through you, and you can feel liquid light moving up through you. This is the key. We just had this key given to us in January of 2000. When the grids activated on a 12 code. So it's new. It's like, why haven't these techniques been here? Why weren't they in the ancient sacred texts? Because you couldn't use them. You couldn't use them for the last 200,000 years. So there's a lot of control we can gain very rapidly over what we do with ourselves, and it gets to be fun after a while. You feel an old response pattern coming up, like a fear thing or an anger thing or just fatigue thing, and the brain kind of goes, oh, wait a minute. Now that's what I used to do. I bet I could do this. This is just energy, isn't it? I have the ability now to work with my Christos self in guiding that energy to a better place. So you learn to not be afraid of your energy, and you learn to direct it, and then you start to feel like, look at that, I did that. I can do that, can I? You start to gain empowerment. You start to realize you have the power to do all sorts of things with your energy. You also have the power to manifest things if you want to. Things that are good for you, things that are in divine right order that aren't going to hurt anybody. because if you try to use the pale silver current to do something that's going to hurt somebody, good luck. It's not going to work. All right? There's a consciousness to that current that is built on unconditional and pure love. So anything that is not loving or that would be harmful for someone, you're not going to be able to use that current for. It just won't come. Okay. Now, I think we covered that enough. Is that enough? Okay. All right. Now, I bet you think that I'm going to let y'all get away easy with just having that to look at and play with at home, where I wouldn't dare try to get everybody to try to use the first one and the 12th one. And I wouldn't even think of maybe breaking it into two groups and letting one group work through trying to sing one side and one group the other. Would I dare do that? Well, if I did, there'd be a reason for it. And it wouldn't be to embarrass you. And it wouldn't be to get even with the people who were screaming next door when we were trying to do the meditation either. No, it would be because I can tell you about this, but if you don't feel it and you don't begin to do it, there's a difference between teaching someone and involving someone. You'll take a cellular imprint, regardless of how disharmonic it might sound. We're not here for a choral award, we're not worrying about being a choir. But it will do a couple of things. First of all, I promised you that I would teach you how to set cue zones before you left. Cue zones are those safe zones. They're also those zones that you're making your little anchoring of the Christos in the areas you drop these zones. Now, to drop the zones and make a cue zone, you need to have some ability to work with the tones. Now, you don't have to do a cue zone. What we're going to be using for that are a couple of these suffixes, actually. They're simpler to use, and you can do a basic cue zone with those. But tomorrow, for the people who are going to be here, we're going to, at the end of tomorrow, get it together enough where we're going to try to run, and with this many people, it's going to be fun, to run a round table. So you get an experience of what that feels like to be a part of one, and if you decided you wanted to lead one, what might that look like? and it'll be great, because one of the things to observe is when you have a lot of people and you're going to do a rainbow round table, watch how absurd it is and how long it takes to get that many bodies just sitting in a circle. Okay? We've had some very funny experiences with it. We had 40 people, and it took us 45 minutes just to get them all sitting in a circle in pairs with their backs to each other. I mean, it's like, okay. So, if I want to go there with you tomorrow, so you can take home with you an experience of being a participant, not just an observer or someone who heard about what a round table is, but someone who has sat in on one. And it may be a rusty one. It's been thousands of years since we've done these things. But it's a start. We're going to need to know a little bit, at least the 1st and the 12th, if we're going to do it right. Because we can not do it and say, well, we'll let the guardians keep our tribal shields activated. But guess what? Guardians like to teach you self-responsibility, and they will help you to learn to do something, so then it's yours and you own it. Otherwise, somebody can pull your string and say no, or say, I'm busy, I'm not going to do it for you. Then you're not going to run a Signet Council, are you? So, it's not going to be that hard. It can actually be kind of fun. I'm going to attempt to break the room into two groups as it is. It's divided already, which is good. And I'm probably going to ask for help, because I can probably keep one of you, find a basic sounding for it. Now, you can change this sounding when you go home. Like, if you play with this and you get, a different melody to it, use yours. But for now, for the group, it'll work if we can find just something basic. So I'll try to find one, and I'll see what, if they can get me into one that will work enough for the group. And I can run one side, but I'm not going to be able to run both sides. What we're going to try to do is get one side. First, we'll start with one and have them, get one side of the room doing the one intonation. And it's going to be really funny at first. So don't expect that. Don't expect much of anything. Just have fun. All right. We'll get to a point where we get it a little bit where there's at least some of the sounds are coming into the same place, okay? Because at first they're going to be all over the place. When we get a little bit of harmonic going here, then I'm going to need somebody on the other side to use the other one. So if we use, like, let's say if we use 12 over here, we need somebody to run 1 over there. And actually what I really need is 2 people, because when Michael was running the Emerald Awakening, I was getting talked to, and I was being asked to get this moving, where we get those basic sounds happening. And there are some overtones that they would like to transmit, which again puts me and my mouth on the spot because they just kind of come through and I never know what they're going to sound like. But they're tones that complement the frequencies. They've done this in other types of exercises too, but I can't do the 3 parts at once is what it comes down to. So let's see. I won't pick randomly because I know that's terrifying to hear. You start the singing. Oh, me? You know? You're being nominated. You have a wonderful voice. I remember you in Egypt in the King's Chamber. Or was it the Queen's? I forget which one it was. I know. I look at this and say, okay, what did that sound like when it was sung? You know? Are you up to it? Okay. All right. We got 1 for one side. Anybody on this side? You have a wonderful voice. There we go. You go. This is also a good experience because laughing is really good for the soul and it really loosens up your energy. So if nothing else, we will accomplish that because this is going to be really funny as we start to do this. But group harmony is what running signets are about, what running the round tables are about. We have to be able to laugh with each other. We have to be able to interact with each other as a team a bit. All right? If you're going to go home and decide, you know, I want to be a part of a signet council, you may have to be the beginner of your signet council in your area. You know what I mean? So you have to be able to come out of the shell enough to say, yeah, let's have fun, let's try this. This is why I want to try to do this. I don't have any commitment at all to what the outcome is. There's no expectation, so you don't have to worry about it. I don't care if you sing off key, I don't care if you howl. But the idea is we're going to try to get first 12 going, and then 1. After 12 gets a little bit stabilized, we're going to try to do 1 and get them going together. And you may have to, I always found whenever I was singing with anybody next to me, I always had to put my fingers in my ears so I could hear myself, or I'd fall into the pitch that they were doing, like I'd fall into their words. So if you have to do that too, that's fine. You know, is everybody sitting like this? Okay. Once, if we can get to that point where the 2 are actually moving, and we need to keep it up for a little while. It's not just, okay, we sang it 4 times, so we can quit now. You know, we need to keep it moving for a bit, because they're going to bring through the other tones, okay. The other tones are going to stimulate more of the tribal shield. There'll be the overtones that would take a while to come through with you just playing with them. And they're also saying there's a couple other benefits to this too. Okay, that's right. You told me this and then it slipped right out of my head. What they're hoping this leads to, and it depends on how loose people can get with it, is when you start to work with the tribal shield tones, they naturally begin to trigger your own Maharic shield tones. And everybody's different. This is where you get the song of the Elohim coming through, the Elohai. This is where you get the song of your soul coming through. Now, I've heard people do that in the right spaces. We had some of that happening when we went to Egypt and we were in the pyramid. There's a number of us just broke into these beautiful melodies. They were just running through. We all have a level of us. All humans do, because they were created out of the Elohai. That was their first imprint. That was the founder's race that gave the first genetic imprint. We all have that level of frequency and that level of consciousness. you can expand and relax enough with yourself to let those tones move through. It's a lot easier when you trigger the tribal shield, which starts to kick the frequencies into the personal Maharic shield. That's where those frequencies come through. It's letting the song of your soul and your avatar and your Christos self begin to come out and express here in tangible form. So if any of you, as we're doing this, if any of you start to get the feeling that you'd like to do some more stuff and just kind of go off and do something else with the voice, let it happen. Not when we first start, so we can at least get the energy moving. But don't be afraid of that. This isn't a place where you have to be embarrassed for that. This is a place where it's encouraged, because what you're doing is you're letting your Christos self sing frequencies into this space, into your body. These are healing frequencies for you and for the planet. So we'll see if we can get that far, or if we're just a little too embarrassed because there's a little too many people here that it might, we'll see. Smaller groups tend to work better when you first start this, but this is a good group, so we might be able to do it. Okay, now, does anybody, like, either side have a preference? If we were going to, like, vote as a body of people, one side and the other, does anybody have a preference for 12 over 1, or is it neutral? Everybody likes 12. Okay. That didn't work. Okay. Well, okay, how's this? This will work good. There's probably a reason that you feel that way. If you have a preference that you'd really rather do 12, why don't let's just see where the most of the 12s are sitting and try to move into that space, like to go over in that way. I mean, if it's worth it to you, if you really feel strong enough. They've already been standing for a long time. If I take a vote, I bet I know the answer. I want to sit for this. They stood for a long time during that thing. Yes. Okay, we're debating on whether stand or sit, and I had a feeling you've probably been standing for a long time with that last meditation. So if you feel like standing, you're welcome to, but we're not going to inflict that on you. But we sing with gusto, right? That's what he said. Okay, now we could do it this way, but it's going to be a little harder for the people, all of you, to do this. If the people that want to sing 12, and the one who wants to sing 1. But then you're going to have people singing something different right next to you, and it may get confusing. So why don't we what we'll do is we'll just start it one way and we'll just flip it the other way. Okay? So everybody gets to do both. Okay? That's a good idea. Yeah. Okay. Which one would you like to start? Well. Okay. Okay, and you can find a melody for it too, right? Remember, we have to find a basic melody. We're going to try to find a melody to work with the group to at least get it into a sung state rather than a state. So you work with finding that melody for a minute, and I will take number 1. Not right now. Not right now. Just to get it to where it's where it's a kind of sing song. No, arai. Arai. Araya Zurtara. Araya Zurtara. Something like that. Nobody can sing that, though. I know. Okay. All right. Now I have to deal with my Izu here. Ishu. That'll work for the moment. Okay. You want me to start? You want me to start this side? Yeah, actually, we're going to introduce without the microphone so it'll be even, because you don't have a mic to use. You can turn it off for this. I don't think you need it. I'll just yell. got pretty much that. Somebody remembered that in case it blows out of my head. Okay. Okay, now we're going to do that one with them over there. Okay.
We'll try. Won't we?
Yeah.
Right. Who's got an idea? Okay. Aria Zuatara, Aria Zuatara, Aria Zuatara, Aria Zuatara, Aria Zuatara, Aria Zuatara, Aria Zuatara.
It's a lot better than I remember. That's great. Okay.
more code. What you just did is give yourselves an extra boost. It will last longer. The activation that you have now, that the guardians help to sustain with the tribal shield, it will, they said before, it would last about a week. Okay? Then it would start to dissipate once you started using the stuff more. This just brought it up to about 4 weeks. That little bit of sound, synchronized, has that kind of power. Sound is even more powerful than light. Sound waves are the strongest, or the pure vibration waves. That little bit that we just did. Imagine if you just spent 10 minutes a day playing with it. You don't have to have a whole choir with you. You can do this. And what's fun is when you're alone, you can start playing with it. Get some gusto behind it. If I do it intense, do it faster. You know, if you do it faster, you have more energy faster. In the old days, we used to keep time with the sticks, and there'd be a rhythm. You'd start slow, and then pick it up, and you would build the wave. You would build the wave of frequency in the body. You can use these this way. They get boring if you just listen here, but if you start to feel them, they'll want to do something more than just stay in the same monotone. They'll want to start to move. They'll want to go maybe up a key or down a key, or maybe modulate. These will come alive with you if you work with them. So you got about 4 weeks worth of tribal shield activation here, which surprised me. I didn't know that's what they had in mind with that. That was just in. That's the beginning. Now, the reason it's important to have some experience of moving the energies, even if you don't feel it real strong yet, to play, not just read about it, hear about playing, is if you want to set Q zones, if you want to be able to anchor frequency in the planetary grids, where it's not just an imaginary thing you think you're doing. Because there's lots of people out there in the New Age movement. They just think they're doing major grid work. It's kind of neat, because none of them are using the Maharata. You can't open the grids without the Maharata, not the full grids. You can influence the surface. Some of them are being trained to run through Stonehenge, where there's something called the Lemurian diotic crystal grid. That's been there since 25,500 BC. It was a Trojan horse that was brought here by the Lemurians in the Atlantian period. Thank you. Forgot about this. Lemurian diotic crystal grid is something we're going to talk about tomorrow, because there's a whole story that goes with it, and it ties in with the Christ story, and ties in with the King Arthur story, and Atlantis, and a whole bunch of other things. But there's a lot of people in that are getting guidance without knowing how to clear their fields, so they get clear guidance. They're hoping it's clear guidance. They're being taught to do things to the planetary grids. They can mess them up from the 11th dimensional frequencies down. They can't completely compromise them, because if they're using the Maharata frequency, that's the only way to access the 12th gate. And from the 12th gate, you can recode everything that's being messed up below it. When we're running frequency through our bodies, when we're activating our tribal shield, see, the tribal shield needs to be activated. Those base flame codes, they're the ones that hold not just the personal Maharata. They have the ability to bring in the Kirashe and the Kundare frequencies for the planetary Kundalini. It takes more critical mass than just your simple own Maharata current to open the planetary grids. And once you activate the tribal shield, it's like an agreement. If you try to abuse that privilege, if you try to use that to do, to harm someone or to harm the grids, it'll shut down, because it requires the Maharata current. And the Maharata current is you at D12, your Christos level avatar. And at D12, you are in perfect Christ consciousness. You would not do something that would harm another being. So it's a built-in protection as far as using these techniques. You can't use them badly. You will either get effect because you use them well, or if you try to use them, or even if you use them wrong by accident, they won't work rather than causing harm.